2, 1.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Welcome to KSAT News Now. And David is back with us, and we always have you on a Wednesday now. I think it's because, there we go.
Is it hump day? I can't, I used to say it really loud, and then Alicia got on me.
Yeah.
I don't say it loud, I just say it's hump day. Kind of takes all the fun out of it.
It doesn't. You know what, David? You could shout it from the mountaintops if you want to here.
No, there's too many people back at the station. And the boss's lights on, so that means she probably come running out of her office. Going, what's going on down there?
That is true. That is true.
We will just do a little emphasis. It is hump day.
There we go.
It's hump day. Mike. All right, let's go.
See, I knew you could not resist. I knew you could not resist.
It's always a good bro show when it's hump day.
Absolutely, yeah. I feel like we've had a few bro shows on Wednesdays, so always good to be here for another bro show. And we have a lot going on this morning, David. The latest on Brittney Griner. Yeah. This has been a month-long saga here, and eBay taking a controversial Halloween costume offline.
Yeah. That's very interesting how eBay stepped in and went, nope, you're not selling those costumes. Because usually, just about anything goes. But these days, anything is like over the edge. So
yeah, this is definitely a controversial one here. And something else I wanted to mention off the top here, U.S. News World Report has released its rankings of the top 100 schools around the world, the global rankings, and there's one Texas school on there, David.
Only one?
Only one. Okay.
Are these colleges?
Colleges.
Colleges?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't know.
What'd you say? It's not Texas Tech? Well, then we don't care about the list. Obviously, they weren't paying attention when they put this list together. Somebody didn't know anything about West Texas and Texas Tech. So, if you're bringing this up,
no, believe me, it's not.
It's not.
No, it's not. But we'll get to that here in just a little bit.
Okay, well now you got
me. List. Okay, that's what I was hoping for. That's what I was hoping for. But David, yes. But first, obviously starting out here with some serious news, and of course the latest here with Eric Cantu, the family of that teen right there who's shot by a now former San Antonio police officer earlier this month. Basically saying yesterday, speaking of the first time, saying that he's still on life support.
Yeah, Eric Cantu Jr.'s family shared updates about his condition for the first time since that shooting back on October 2nd. Cantu's parents said that Eric's condition is very touch and go. That's their quote. And they said he has tubes in his mouth and the side of his stomach and still has a bullet lodged near his heart.
Yeah, and his family says that the mental trauma that Eric is dealing with is just as bad as the physical there. So the family's attorney, Ben Crump, said that Cantu goes into cardiac arrest every time they try to wean him off of narcotics, and that cycle has been going on for weeks now.
Yeah, the 17-year-old has several injuries after he was shot by former Officer James Brennan in a McDonald's parking lot. Yeah,
David, and you were anchoring obviously our news at noon yesterday, and we were talking about this a little bit right before the show, just how compelling this press conference was, and to hear from the family.
And they gave out a lot of information that we had not heard. The fact that he was shot 4 times, and the fact that he still has a bullet lodged inside his body near his heart. They indicated it was kind of like underneath his heart, and so that obviously that's a touch and go situation. Trying to get that out of there for the doctors, and I was kind of interested in watching Mom and Dad talk to our John Paul Barajas about. I mean, they showed some emotion, but they handled themselves very well on the air. They didn't, and they weren't yelling and screaming about anything. They were just basically saying how they felt about the situation their son's in the hospital, and how they felt about the former police officer who shot their son, and what should be done. It was a very compelling interview, and I think we were on the air live for about 9 minutes, and you couldn't even tell it because we were just so engrossed in listening to them for the first time talk about their son and the condition he's in, and how they felt the whole situation is being handled right now.
Yeah, and actually we do have a little bit of audio from Eric Cantu's parents, so let's go ahead and listen to that.
Sleeping, what we think is a peaceful sleep, to hallucinations and raising his hands and trying to press the pedals to the car and pushing gun symbols. These are the things we have to see daily that no one has seen.
And there we go. Again, his father there speaking about the latest condition there with Eric Cantu. And you mentioned, David, that very compelling press conference yesterday, a lot of discussion about policing as well and the officer's action there. And again, this officer has now been fired by the San Antonio Police Department.
Yeah, and they said he is getting better, but once again, we find out that he has cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
Incidents just about every day.
Right.
That's just
right.
that. And if you're his parents, I mean, it's just got to be scary every single day. But the good news is for him that he does seem to be making some positive strides in his recovery. And he's got we didn't know, but he's got a trach.
Right.
He can't speak.
Yeah. Right.
Through normal means. So he's got a trach. I mean, you know.
Yeah, very serious,
It's a
very
tough
serious situation there,
yeah.
and it's something that has obviously made national headlines, and we will continue to follow. Now to some international headlines here. The latest with Brittney Griner, David. Russian court has upheld her 9-year sentence following a legal procedure that the White House official there called a sham.
Yeah, the New York Times reported Tuesday that the court's decision means Griner is going to begin serving her sentence very soon unless the Biden administration is able to negotiate her release.
And if you're watching this on the visual platforms, you see that she actually did take part in this regional court hearing there in Moscow, speaking behind bars during a video conference. And this is the first time that I've seen her actually speak in any sort of platform. And the first time I've heard her speak in a while now.
Yeah, they wouldn't even let her out of the jail cell. So yeah, she's been arrested once again. She was arrested in Moscow airport back in February. The airport officials there discovered vape canisters and cannabis oil in her luggage.
And back in August, a Russian court sentenced her to this prison term. Multiple news outlets reported that Griner's lawyer had asked for a suspended sentence in that appeal on Tuesday, but had said that they were not expecting any miracles. So it's my understanding that it was reduced a little bit, but for the most part, everything is still kind of the status quo.
But basically, it was reduced, but getting out was denied. And I was watching some coverage yesterday, and there was one person that thought that now that it's done, basically this is the sentence that you have, that her appeal is over, that she's going to go to a different prison, and this is more of a work camp type prison. So that'll be interesting to see. And of course, we also understand that from reporting yesterday that the White House is still trying to negotiate a prisoner swap to get her and another American that's over there out for a Russian that's here in the U.S. So they're still trying to work to get her out of prison, but apparently she's going to a worse prison than where she is now. So
and I mean, with everything obviously going on overseas with Russia and Ukraine, obviously this has been kind of a point there of emphasis for them to try and do this prisoner swap. Apparently, ESPN reporting that that U.S. government officials have expressed frustration over what they say is Russia's failure to respond to any significant offer that the U.S. has made, even going as far back as June. But tough situation there for Brittney Griner. And again, she played professional basketball in Russia.
Yeah.
We see a lot of, U.S. athletes go over there, especially female basketball players go play there.
You obviously have to wonder if we were not in this situation with Ukraine, if this situation would be unfolding in Russia.
Yeah.
You wonder that. So. All right, we are 2 weeks away from Election Day, and in the middle of early voting this year in Uvalde, there's a lot of new faces on the ballot, and one race in particular, County Commissioner Precinct 2.
That's right. Javier Cáceres is running as a write-in candidate. So his daughter, Jackie Cáceres, was one of the 21 killed at Robb Elementary.
Now, he says a lot has changed in just the last 5 months.
I'm a parent first, not a politician. I promised her from that day that I was going to fight to change, try to fight for change as much as I could.
All right, and you just heard there from Mr. Cáceres. So he told our Lee Waldman that he's never been very political, but obviously that has changed significantly since that tragedy there. And Mario Parras Jr. is the county commissioner. He's held that seat there for the last 10 years. So he was also serving as the Uvalde Police Department's interim chief on the day of the shooting. So that's who's the current commissioner there.
Yeah, he was placed on leave, but was still running unopposed for re-election until now.
Yeah, absolutely. And KSAT 12 has emailed Barrera several times, but have not gotten a response back from him. There are also 2 write-in candidates for that Commissioner Precinct 2 position. That's Julio Valdez and Diana Olvedo Carew.
Now, Valdez declined an interview, but you will hear from Olvedo Carew tonight on the Night Beat. And I would not be surprised as time passes that we see more parents and more people who were directly affected run for some sort of office, either in the city or the county, or maybe even the state, looking for some change as they start to heal and realize they could actually make some change and decide that the best way to do that is run for office. So he probably is the first of several that's going to.
I think there's been a lot of revelations since the shooting there, especially with the local government, and we've seen now a lot going back to the city council positions, the mayor's office there. The school board positions, so that's definitely going to be a big point of contention here as we get ready for the election, which, speaking about Lee, she's going to be there also on election night, covering everything there.
See how that goes. All right, so Halloween is just around the corner. And usually you can find some scary and crazy costumes on eBay. Well, eBay has got one less costume on their site. They've taken it down.
Yes, very controversial here. So the costume Dahmer, so this is of course depicting the notorious serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, and this is of course based on all the trending news here because of the series Dahmer on Netflix that we've seen all this past month. Yeah,
as we have gotten closer and closer to Halloween, some sites are selling costumes of the killer, and they include an orange jumpsuit, wig, and glasses. Debate has sparked over social media, with one person saying Jeffrey Dahmer is not a fictional character. He was a real criminal that killed real people. Imagine how the victims' families feel seeing people dressed up as the person who murdered and ate their loved one.
Yeah, very graphic details there. So eBay has banned the sale of any Dahmer-related accessories. They say it actually goes against a long-standing policy of theirs, and that policy prohibits listings that promote or glorify violence or violent acts or are associated with individuals who are notorious for committing violent acts, end quotes there.
Meanwhile, sites like Amazon and what is it, Mercari?
Mercari, yes, Mercari, David.
Apparently I don't do enough shopping. Still carry products people might be looking for. So what's your thoughts?
Well, I think, based on the insensitivity of this, I think, it's the right move here to pull down any of these costumes. Now, that doesn't mean that people will not just make their own and go out and, go to Halloween events dressed as this, because this was a very popular series on Netflix. I don't know if you've watched this, David.
No.
At all. No, me neither, actually.
Well, I don't understand who's sitting around on their couch or on their lazy boy going, hey, you know what? I think I want to dress up like Jeffrey Dahmer this year. Really? How does that even come into your head?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
But I guess
Halloween is a very, very interesting time. For sure.
Stick with Casper the Friendly Ghost, or the Witch, or some cartoon character.
Something a little bit more.
Keep it simple.
Call it a day.
Just keep it simple. Yeah. No need to offend anyone. And
and you just heard that familiar voice?
Yeah. There we go.
Wow, look who's here.
Mia
Look who it is.
On another Bro Show.
On an episode of the Bro Show.
I know. Yes.
KNN Bro Show.
Absolutely.
Happy to be here.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you, Mia.
Yes, so we're talking about Halloween and all things fall.
Yep.
So today, believe it or not, is National Pumpkin Day.
Whoa.
So
I know that.
carve all the jack-o'-lanterns you want, get all the pumpkin spice lattes that you want.
Do you carve pumpkins?
I haven't yet this year.
Do you like digging in and getting all the
Okay, so I
gunk
saw
out of it?
a hack on Instagram last week that if you know the hand mixers,
Oh yeah.
if you carve your pumpkin, you have to empty it out. If you put the hand mixer in there, it'll actually get all the gunk out for you off the sides of the pumpkin, and then you can just scoop it out. Apparently, it makes it so much easier.
Wow.
So, if anyone has yet to carve their pumpkin, like me, because I've procrastinated this year,
absolutely. Same
there's
here.
a good tip for
Good
you
way
to
to
use the
catch
hand
up.
mixer.
They just took all the fun out of it.
I was gonna say, that seems like
My
something
hand
you would
always
like to do.
hurts after. By the time I'm ready to actually carve the pumpkin, I'm tired because it's taken me so
Get all
long.
the seeds.
It's like something I know. David seems like a fan of just getting all that out of
All
there.
that stuff. Anyways, so because it's National Pumpkin Day,
Okay. Oh.
today's trivia question is centered around that. So when is the best time of year to plant pumpkins? January through March, March through April, May through June? or into the fall, August, October. What do you think?
Wow.
Wow.
Well, I figure they have to be ready for October. So
That's a good thought.
Okay.
That's a good thought, RJ.
You know what? I'll go D, August.
D? You're not going to grow that fast. Come on. Unless you want them little bitty pumpkins. I'm going to go. I'm going to go January, March, because I think it takes a while.
Wow.
No
There it
way.
is. Okay, so this is according to
wouldn't
Texas
even-
A&M University AgriLife.
Okay.
The best time of year to plant pumpkins
Really?
is from early
Okay.
May to June, but it depends on the variety of the pumpkin. So some varieties mature in about 85 days, while others could take up to 120 days
There's always some
to
caveat.
mature. There
See,
always
I was
is.
thinking of those like super pumpkins that just
So they grow that
within the
fast?
span.
Apparently. And you know, it also depends on the climate. So they need a decent amount of water, of course,
Okay.
evenly
Right.
distributed across the vine, the whole thing. I was reading up on it before
Wait.
planting.
We did a story a couple of weeks ago about some guy in some other state
boy.
that grew a pumpkin that was like 1,700 pounds.
Goodness.
Are you telling me that he
Was it in
planted the seed in
Wisconsin?
May
Yeah.
and he got a 1,700-pound pumpkin in late October?
I need to go watch that story, clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
David.
a huge pumpkin.
Maybe that's just in Texas. Is that just in Texas or is that all?
This was closer to Lubbock that they did this little story on.
Okay.
So,
All right.
but
'Cause
you know,
that guy had a.
You have
man
some
looked like
questions
a
that
5-year
need to be
Yeah.
I
answered.
do.
Absolutely.
yeah,
You know.
all the things. Anyway,
Inquiring minds
so
wanna know.
there's your
All right.
there's your National Pumpkin Day.
Thank you.
Fun fact for this Wednesday. Okay, let's get a brief check-in here at the weather because today, absolutely stunning. It was chilly this morning. We got down to 47 degrees officially here in San Antonio. Our average low was in the upper 50s, so we're about 10 degrees below where we should be. Today's definitely a layering day because while it was plenty cold out there this morning, it's going to be warm this afternoon just because we have full on sunshine. Absolutely stunning. Earlier this morning in the hill country, Fredericksburg, Kerrville dropped down into the 30s, 44 in Hondo, 45 over in Pleasanton. I mean, that was just chilly, chilly air to kickstart this Wednesday. Those temperatures are already warming up here pretty efficiently thanks to one, that sunshine, but two, also the dry air in place. So remember, dry air allows temperatures to cool down pretty quickly through the overnight hours, but it also allows those temperatures to warm up pretty quickly into the afternoon as well. So as we head into this afternoon, again, we are going to hold on to that sunshine. Temperatures climbing into the 70s here into the early afternoon hours. We've got a forecast high around 80 degrees here in San Antonio, and then temperatures still going to be a little cool if you're stepping out later this evening. We see those temps fall into the 60s after the sun goes down. Now, as we look ahead to the next 3 days, we've got some changes that move in, especially by tomorrow night, the overnight hours and into early Friday. We're going to see the humidity quickly move back in tomorrow. You likely will notice that by tomorrow evening. Temperatures near about 80 again into the afternoon. But as we see our next front move in overnight Thursday and early Friday, we've got about a 60% chance to find another round of some rain and storms. So that's just something to think about for the Friday morning drive. Probably plan on taking the umbrella with you there again. We also might need to monitor for an isolated strong storm there as well. And then we see that northwest wind turn on again. So it is going to be pretty breezy Friday into our Saturday, but temperatures still on the cooler side. We'll wake up in the 50s again Saturday morning, and those temperatures only in the 70s. So we're at that time of year where we're seeing those cold fronts move through, and it kind of reinforces that fall air.
Good pumpkin patch weather.
There you go.
Unanimous. Absolutely. So, okay, so mark your calendar. Go into next year.
Okay.
And mark, what was it, May, June?
May.
May.
To plant your pumpkin seeds, and let's see what we come up with.
All right.
So don't forget.
I won't.
I'm going to remind you.
Please do.
Like
I'm gonna go
December,
put it in my calendar right
in
now.
February.
We have
in
the
March.
garden out here.
I'll
Maybe
remind
we
you.
could do that.
We just need to get some pumpkin seeds right now and just throw it out and see what happens.
I think you should grow some pumpkins.
I think you could beat that 1,700-pound pumpkin.
Ooh, that would be cool.
We'll set a Guinness World Record. Let's
Go
do
look
it.
that up.
Let's do it.
Go look that up. Go
All
look
right.
that video up. And by the way, she's a Spurs fan.
I'm a Spurs
It's
fan.
the Bro Show. We're going to talk sports for a second.
Here
I know.
in yes.
Alyssa will let us talk
Yeah,
sports.
yeah,
How
in a
about
little
those
bit.
Spurs? 3-1.
Yes. Yeah.
Ooh,
We
thank
will. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. And Mia, also a proud Texas A&M alum, right?
Uh-oh.
Gig 'em.
Gig 'em.
But here we go.
there we go.
Aggies. Justin also. I don't know if Justin's still here. Turn away.
Sarah.
Is this your?
Sarah.
Is this your U.S. Yes,
report? This is it. All right. What? So here we have Aggies turn away because U.S. News and World Report just released its rankings for the best universities around the world, and the Texas Longhorns are tops in the state. What's up with that?
Do I really want to read this?
Horns down.
The University of Texas at Austin has kept its status as the top college in the Lone Star State when it comes to education for the second year. What are they educating them on? That's what I want to know. What's the education they're
Matthew McConaughey, he's the Minister of Culture.
Man,
He's,
the Minister of Culture. look at Mia's going.
Yeah,
that's
Mia's just shaking her head. Yeah.
Hey, I'm with you on that one. I finally agree with some Aggies. This is not good.
So the Horns were the only Texas university to rank in the top 100 schools on this list. So they are ranked 23rd in the U.S. and then 43 globally. So I don't know how many UT alums do we have in here?
43 globally?
Yeah.
UT?
Yeah.
Courtney Freeman.
There we go. Yeah. Okay. So Courtney. Oh, Stephanie Serna. Big. Yeah.
Who else from UT?
They're not here. They're not here to represent their.
Anybody else? We got more Aggies than we got anybody in here. It's like the weather department. If you don't go to A&M, you can't really work in our weather department, I guess. I don't know what happened to Adam McCaskey. How did he sneak in? But
tough blow for Texas Tech, David. Tough blow there.
Yeah. They apparently we weren't part of the research. If they'd have done some research, they'd have found out.
Yeah. Okay, David. So now, we are circling back to this here because I wanted to talk about this early season Spurs mania, 3-1. What are your thoughts here on this fast start?
I'm actually, to be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised.
Very surprised.
But then again, when you're not supposed to win, and but the players want to win, it's like, well, we don't care what anybody else thinks. We're going to go out there and play. And and even the bigger surprise is the leads they've been getting on some of these teams. Now they've been, blowing some leads at the end. Yeah. But I mean, they had a big lead against Indiana. They had a big lead against Philly. They had a big lead against Minnesota.
Yep.
And it's like these veterans. We call them veterans. They've been like 3 or 4 years. But I mean,
elder statesman, 27-year-old Jakob
Poeltl, and these guys are man. They're playing some basketball. So 3-1.
Well, Spurs fans are freaking out on Twitter because we thought that the tank was in, and we thought that they maybe not get to 3 wins by Christmas. I think a lot of Spurs fans were thinking this, but it is interesting to see what will happen the rest of the way here. If the Spurs are in playoff contention towards the New Year's, do they just continue to keep going?
Hey. And remember, I think Adam Silver even talked to the commissioner of the NBA even talked about it again the other day. He was talking about how they've changed the rules and the formats and everything, and how it's harder for teams to actually tank, especially when you consider the bottom 3 teams last year when they got to the draft. Houston had the worst record, and they ended up with the 3rd pick.
Yeah.
So they didn't, just because you have the worst record doesn't mean you're going to get the number 1 pick. So that's a little tank prevention right there.
There you go. Yeah, so, and we bring this up to say that the Spurs are playing tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that they just beat the other night. So Calvin Johnson's playing well. Devin Vassell.
They got 5 guys averaging in double figures.
Yep, there we go.
And they're like getting 20+ assists a game. They're running them down the floor. And it's always hard to beat a team twice like this.
Yes.
So, but we'll see how this works out.
All right, David. Love a good bro show
it's always fun,
another Wednesday as we got the wrap. We got the hook from.
Oh, she's telling you guys. Yes.
We will see you guys tomorrow on KSAT News Now.
Check you out at noon too today.